If it felt intense immediately, congratulations, you may have been emotionally fast-tracked. If it moved too fast, if you felt chosen, special, different, and then suddenly everything changed, that wasn't love. That was love bombing. And before anyone gets defensive, let me be really clear. This episode isn't about blaming you. It's about understanding why it felt so good, why it wasn't normal, and why it left you feeling confused when it ended. Because when something starts like a fairy tale and ends like emotional whiplash, there's usually a reason. So if it started like a rom-com and ended like a psychological thriller, stay with me. This is Unhinged but Healing, where we talk ex-drama, red flags, bad decisions, and the lessons we only learned after ignoring every sign we were given. This is a judgment-free space for people who have loved too hard, stayed too long, ignored their gut, replied when they shouldn't have, and romanticised bare minimum behaviour like it was a personality trait because we wanted it to work. I'm not here to tell you to just love yourself and magically everything gets better. I'm here to tell the truth, even when it's uncomfortable, unpack your shit, and then help you do better next time. No judgment. So let's talk about how this actually shows up in real life, because it's rarely obvious when we're in it. For example, number 1, the future talk immediately. They start talking about moving in, marriage, kids, holidays together, and you're sat there thinking, this feels fast, but also kind of amazing. We hadn't even argued yet, but apparently we're naming future children because I was the one. Seriously, they planned a future with me faster than I planned my food shop. Real question though, how can someone plan a future with you when they don't know how you handle stress, conflict, or disappointment? It gives soulmate energy with stranger information. Example number 2 is constant access to you. They want all your time. They text all day. They call you constantly. They want to see you every free moment. And at first, it feels flattering, like, wow, someone finally wants me this much. But slowly, your world starts shrinking. If I didn't reply in 10 minutes, I got a question mark, like I'd gone missing. Friends become background noise. Alone time feels like a problem. It wasn't communication, it was surveillance. Healthy interest makes space. Love bombing fills every gap. Example number 3 is fast emotional intimacy. Trauma dumping early. They trauma dumped so hard, I needed a clipboard. With deep confessions, making you feel like you're the only person who understands them. That creates a false sense of closeness. You feel bonded, not because trust has been built, but because emotions were shared too quickly, and suddenly you're emotionally bonded before you even know their coffee order. Real intimacy builds, it doesn't explode. So here's the part we need to normalise saying out loud. Healthy love is steady. It grows with time. Healthy love doesn't feel like an adrenaline sport. It doesn't overwhelm you. We fall for love bombing because it feels like being chosen, especially if you felt unseen, undervalued, or starved of affection before. It does not mean that you are desperate. It means that you are human. Real love doesn't need a disclaimer like, I know this is fast, but... Love bombing works because it creates emotional dependency before emotional safety. Love bombing can feel exciting because it's intense, but intensity is not the same as intimacy. Normal attraction includes curiosity, patience, and boundaries. Love bombing ignores boundaries and calls it romance. If someone is all in before they've seen you upset, annoyed, tired, or disagreeing with them, they're not loving you, they're loving the feeling you give them. And I'm going to be honest, if someone falls in love with you instantly, then they're not seeing you clearly. So what happens after the love bombing? This is the part that comes that really messes with your head. The switch. The attention drops. The effort fades. Suddenly you're chasing the version of them that you met at the beginning. I mean, I was chasing version 1.0 while dating version 3.7. And you tell yourself, if I can just get back to how it was. But here's the truth that hurts. How it was at the beginning, that intensity, it wasn't sustainable. That version was a performance. And that level of effort had an expiry date. They didn't change. The mask just slipped. Now, if you're listening to this and realising you've experienced love bombing, I need you to hear me clearly. You were not stupid. You were not naive. You responded to attention, affection, and intensity that felt good, and that doesn't make you weak, it makes you human. But real love does not rush you. It doesn't overwhelm you, and it definitely doesn't punish you for needing space, clarity, or consistency. If something feels magical at first but leaves you anxious, confused, or questioning yourself later, that's not romance. You don't need to be grateful for crumbs just because they arrived wrapped in romance and grand gestures. If it's fast and intense but disappears when you ask for consistency, that's your answer. Slow love might feel boring at first, but it's safe, and safe is where healing actually happens. This podcast is going to be honest, funny, uncomfortable at times, chaotic, and very real. If you've got an ex story, a red flag you've ignored, or a situation that made you question your own sanity, I want to hear it. Everything is anonymous, no names, no judgment, just honesty and growth. Because healing isn't always graceful, but it is always worth it. This was Unhinged but Healing. I've got you. See you next time.